Well, welcome back. You have a microphone? Okay. I'm standing next to Anthony Robbins. He probably doesn't need much introduction to many of you. Anthony is the Vice President of Public Sector for NVIDIA. And, you know, the theme, again, for this event is innovation. And all these 5 companies that have stepped up, they have innovation in their DNA. But it's certainly true with NVIDIA. NVIDIA is a high-flying company out of Silicon Valley. And Anthony heads up their public sector effort in North America. Anthony, why don't you tell us a little bit about what NVIDIA is doing in government, and what does NVIDIA manufacture and sell? Let's start there.
First of all, I think we were just renamed. Did you guys get that? Like, what, are you like a New Yorker or something?
I beg your pardon, Providence.
With all due respect, right? So NVIDIA is a startup. I like to look at it. But interestingly, we're 25 years in the business. We've only got 11,000 employees, about $10 billion in revenue, and interestingly, and I'll tell you why it matters, $150 billion market cap. Right, so I'll let you think about that. So 11,000 employees with a market cap that's the size of IBM's. So why is that? There's 3 things I thought I would offer just to share. So kind of who are we? How did we get here? And what happens next? So we're a company that began focused on the graphics business. And so some of you all may know that, the 3D graphics business very well. NVIDIA got their start by licensing a graphics library from Silicon Graphics in like 1994. Why does that matter? Because at the time, there's about 40 graphics companies on the planet. There's not that case today. I don't know what there is today, maybe 4. So NVIDIA began building a business that was bringing graphics to the marketplace, leveraging open graphics library from Silicon Graphics early on, and they found themselves in the gaming business. How many of you have kids? Go ask your kids what they know about NVIDIA from a gaming business. Gaming, how big is gaming? It's $100 billion a year. That's what the gaming business. So when you wonder about why you're spending so much money on your kids, game consoles and toys, that's why it's a massive freaking business. It's very large. And then there's 200 million gamers that use Silicon Graphics technology. So what we built was a $4 billion business around gaming. We found that launched ourselves into this the really high-end graphics. Anybody go to movies? Anybody go to movies watching 3D? And anybody see a lot of really high-end cool graphics? Almost unilaterally, 100% of those movies use Silicon Graphics OpenGL technology combined with what is today all the NVIDIA product. Now, all of that led us to the development of what we call a GPU, graphics processing unit, and then a programming environment we call CUDA. You don't have to remember any of the technical stuff. You can ask somebody about it later. But what has happened is the same processing that had enabled games and graphics was material to artificial intelligence. So that's why I gave you the little backdrop there, okay? So, and you'd have to have your head in the sand to not understand that artificial intelligence is being deployed in greater capacity and speed than anything that has occurred in the IT business in the world in our lifetime. Every single person in this room, every single person in every single country, every single company in every single country around the world is going to be dramatically impacted by the role of artificial intelligence in people's lives and in businesses that we're in, including the federal government. So I couldn't be more excited to be representing, and how did you say it? NVIDIA. NVIDIA. And because I happen to have spent...
I'm not from New York, by the way, but don't insult me like that.
Okay, but you're close. I love Steve. So, but the point, so in my career, I've spent 30 years covering the federal government, living in Maryland, and then I have spent 30 years doing that work for Silicon Valley-based companies, Silicon Graphics, Sun, and then today, NVIDIA. So
well, let me put you on this. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. To the extent you can, where are some of the implementations of your product within government? Where is it being utilized?
Well, So let me tell you, so the use cases that where artificial intelligence plays in the federal government are many. I'll blast through a couple of them. In civilian agencies, obviously healthcare. Healthcare is going to be revolutionized by the role that AI is going to play because of the massive amount of data and so much work to be done there. Waste, fraud, and abuse. The U.S. spends $147 billion a year of your taxpayer dollars. $147 billion a year on waste, fraud, and abuse. That's a public number, and artificial intelligence will help go. I mean, the IRS alone spends $22 billion a year, or is exposed $22 billion a year in tax fraud alone. Massive opportunities. Last year, we spent $306 billion in responding to natural disasters in the U.S., and that was $306 billion. FEMA has a big role right in that, and it was inspired by the hurricanes that we dealt with. Artificial intelligence is going to have a role in weather prediction, how insurances do assessments, how we provide drones and many other things to figure out how we do rescue, safety, response, and the like. So that's civilian agencies. Inside of the Department of Defense, there's 3 or 4 use cases. Intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. You probably know something about that. If not, just Google it. You'll see it. Literally Google it. And then logistics, the whole transportation business will be profoundly impacted by artificial intelligence. We could go forward. Platform sustainment. The number one issue in the Department of Defense is cost. Right? The number one program in the Department of Defense is the Joint Strike Fighter, and it's been publicly talked about how they need to address the sustainment cost of the Joint Strike Fighter. Once they figure that out, there'll be a metaphor there for how they go and deal with artificial intelligence, big data analytics across the platform sustainment across all of the branches of service. Cyber is an obvious one. Right, so whether it's offensive, defensive, or resilience, cyber is another opportunity. So there's 3 or 4 use cases in DoD.
And you were mentioning to me that you're flying out later today to go back to the headquarters to brief the CEO on public sector and government.
I did. Wish me luck.
Well, again, let's thank NVIDIA and Anthony Robbins for support today.